Hi, my name is Michaela Shoup. I am an education major at the University of Tennessee in Martin, and my concentration is pre-K through 3rd grade. The state standard for the lesson I'm doing with the class is K.FFL.SC.6, and it states that this demonstrate command of the conventions of standard English grammar and usage when speaking, and conventions of standard English grammar and usage, including capitalization and punctuation when writing with an adult support. The objectives of this lesson will be that the students will learn how to recognize and name the end punctuations. Listening to the punctuation song, the student will be able to recognize and name the end punctuations within a 100% accuracy. And the I can statement is I can recognize and name end punctuations. And the central focus of this lesson is the student will be able to recognize each ending punctuation by participating in the lesson and working on the worksheet and computer games within a 95% accuracy. The prior academic learning, like what they need to know before we do this lesson, is basic structures of a sentence, how to capitalize the first letter of like a sentence basically, and they need to be able to orally produce 4 sentences. The planned supports, I'm just going off my lesson plan, by the way, so that way if you see me looking at it, that's what I'm doing. There'll be group work for an I Spy game that we do as a whole class. The individual work will be done during the internet part of the lesson. So we'll basically be taking a trip to the computer lab, and that's where they'll do their independent work. And then I'll be there to help them if they need it. The PowerPoint, that'll help the students see like which end punctuation is which, and they'll be able to correlate the exclamation mark with what the word is or what the definition of that part is. And the internet games will help the students reinforce what I just taught them, and it'll also help students who learn better by doing hands-on things instead of like visually or anything like that. They can learn more by doing hands-on. And the internet games are also self-paced, so they don't have to feel rushed while they're doing the internet games. Let's see, the grouping strategies. I basically have 5 kids at each table. 1 is tier 1, 2 are tier 2s, and 2 is tier 3s. And they'll all help each other in that table. Okay, to continue where I just finished off, the differentiations, so the modifications, I'll simplify the worksheet that they'll do at the end of the lesson to complete 3 of the 6, and I'll also give them more examples so that way they have more examples to look at and they can get a better understanding of which one goes with which. And then also one-on-one help if they need that. I'm always there to help them. Accommodations, when we go to the computer lab, if a kid or child needs it, I'll give them noise cancelling headphones so that way that limits distractions to them. They can get everything done that needs to be done. And then also allowing extra time for them to do the worksheet or the games, and of course one-on-one help if they need that. The materials needed for this lesson, the teacher will need the PowerPoint, which will be used to explain the different the different end punctuations, sorry. YouTube, obviously, need that for the video that we do in the beginning of the lesson. The various websites that they use for the online games. The PowerPoint, which will be used at the end for the student versus teacher competition. And the worksheet from the online lesson plan that I found will be used as like the exit slip for the end of the lesson. The students will need the worksheet, which they'll get from me, a pencil, the headphones from the computer lab, which they'll get out of the little bin in the back of the class, the paper for the exit slip, and the listening ears. So before the before part of the lesson, we introduce everything, you know. The students will play a game of I Spy, And from that game, basically, I will have, obviously not these ones, but something similar. Let me see if I can get them. So they'll have these, and so it's obviously this one shows question mark, this one shows exclamation mark, and this one shows a period or a full stop. So I'll have something like this. I'll make it more pretty, I guess you would say, like this, hidden around the classroom, and they'll have to find, like, I'll point, well not point, but I'll put up, okay, can anyone find this hidden around the classroom? Or like, if this is the easier one, can anyone find this around the classroom? So I'll have them looking around and they'll have to find it, and I'll say to them, do you know what this is called? And if they happen to know what it's called, that's great. If not, I'll be teaching that to them during the lesson. And so after they do that, then they go on to doing a YouTube video. I printed off like a screenshot of it for you to see. And it's called Punctuation Song from Grammaropolis. And basically it helps the students see visually and how, like, where a period goes, where a comma goes, which, like, they aren't learning yet, but they get an idea of where it'll go whenever they go to learn about that. And so then they'll listen to that song, and then they'll also have to listen to me, the teacher, as I'm teaching them the different end punctuations. And I'll have different, like, pictures and kind of similar to this, like I did on these. And I'll have each punctuation mark with like an example sentence or something similar to that on the projector screen. And then obviously after that they'll watch the video, and then continuing on from that, we will go to the computer lab. And in the computer lab, I have down on my lesson plans that the student will play individual games to show the understanding of what they just learned. After they play each game, they will also write down how many of the questions they got correct. The two games they have in the computer lab is from iPadThinker.com and TotalDiary.com. And so I'll go ahead and I'll give them the links, and they'll just type it in. If they need help, I'll go and put it in for them. And they just do those games. And whenever they're done with that, we'll go back to the classroom as a group and prepare to play a student versus teachers ending punctuation PowerPoint game. And then I also attached the link to that, but I do not have that with me. But it's teacherspayteachers.com, and you just type in teacher versus student ending punctuation PowerPoint game, and it'll show up. So then we'll play that, and if the students win, they get a treat. Don't know what it would be. I would have to come up with that. It would likely be like pencils, erasers, stuff that they can use like in the classroom and get use out of it, not just candy or anything like that. And then after the computer use, like when we're back in the classroom, we've played the group game. Don't know if I won, if they won. They'll probably win because they're pretty smart in kindergarten. So after the computer use, the students will go back to their tables. Remind you, there's groups of 5, and there's 1 tier 1 student, 2 tier 2 students, and 2 tier 3 students. Depending on like how the school year is, that's normally how it would be. And they'll go back to the tables, complete the worksheet, which the worksheet is this one right here. Obviously it would be a bigger page, it would be a whole page of it. But from this, basically, I'm just reading from the thing so I'll make sure I got it right again. They will go back to the tables, complete a worksheet, and it has, on each of them, they have the examples, and then on these right here, these 6, they'll make the sentence and put whether it'll have a question mark, period, or exclamation mark. And after that, they'll turn in the worksheet to me, along with the scores from the games that they had previously done. And depending on how they did, depends on the grade they got. And if they finish early, they will have worksheets in the back of the classroom by their bins that they can work on. And then if I can find it, the rubric. So I have a rubric and it's out of 4 total. So for the categories are online games, participation, and worksheet. The student got a total of 15 questions out of 15 questions correct. The student participated throughout the entire lesson with no problems, and the student got 6 out of 6 questions correct on the worksheet. So basically, if they get 100 on everything, they get 12 points total. The lowest they can get is 3 points, which is where they got less than 10 questions from the online games correct. They did not participate in the lesson, or they got between 0 and 1 questions out of 6 on the worksheet correct. But yeah, so basically that's really all there is to my lesson. There's the formative assessment as well, and it's obviously the state standard demonstrating the command of the conventions of standard English, including capitalization and punctuation. On the exit slip that they have, I'll have them put 1 through 3, and I'll ask them questions like, which way is the lunchroom? I need to go renew my library book, and my birthday's tomorrow, and they'll have to put which exclamation mark, or not exclamation mark, which punctuation mark goes with each sentence. And that'll show me that if they get at least 2 out of the 3 correct, that they have an understanding of what we've just learned. And then the summative assessment basically is the worksheet, and that is the way I'll know that they understand is that the student participated throughout the lesson, got at least 12 of the questions correct in the online games, and got at least 4 questions right on the worksheet. Because the way that I did that is I'm using like the little grading scale, and that's at least, I believe, a C, I want to say. It would be at least a C, yeah. And so that way they have an understanding of it somewhat. And I believe that is it. The language function is apply, state, and write. The learning task, the student will be able to apply, state, or write the ending punctuations at the end of each sentence by participating in the lesson and working on the worksheet and computer games within a 95% accuracy. The vocabulary and key phrases for this lesson are exclamation mark, question mark, period, and end of sentence. The syntax is explaining to the students when to use each ending punctuation and or how to properly write them. And the discourse is allowing the students to verbally or orally give me their own sentence examples of the ending punctuation I want them to successfully complete. And the language supports is the worksheet we use at the end of the lesson helps the students with understanding and successfully using the language function, which is applying and stating and writing the ending punctuations in a sentence. And that is it. So I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope this turns out okay, because I'm a little nervous about it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.